Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Brno circuit ahead of race 2 of the Ferrari Challenge Round 5 here in the Czech Republic. It is the Coppa Shell drivers that are next out on track for their second race of the weekend. As I mentioned, it is Round 5 with Round 6 to come in mid-September in Barcelona in Spain. And then, of course, the Finale Mondiale in Monza towards the end of the year. Beginning of November, to be absolutely precise. And there are some of the spectators here. And you may note brollies in hand on account of the fact that it has just started raining here. Now, to the best of our knowledge from the timing screens, doesn't look like it's been declared a wet race yet, but inevitably the track conditions are going to become quite challenging here on this 5.4 kilometre circuit, which wends its way through the trees. As you can see, the raindrops on our camera lens there. So we will see if indeed it is declared and determined to be a wet race. We do know is that conditions may change during the course of the race if it continues to rain. Of course, it's that awful position that drivers and teams are put in, not knowing whether to put the wet weather tyres on at the beginning of the race if declared a wet race, or whether to risk running on the slicks in the hope that there will be no further rain and that the track will dry out. And there from the Manuela Gosner car that we're on board with now, you can see exactly what it looks like through the windscreen of Manuela Gosner's car. The pole sitter Eric Prinot is the car just ahead. 20 degrees, the air temperature, track temperature 25 degrees, and there you can see the cloud symbol on the left-hand side of the graphics, indicative that there is some rain around. It's just showers though, isn't it? And James Wayland, there you can see, are his tyres being ready to be changed, and the same too for Eric Prinot. Time will tell. So the Rosso Corsa team for the James Wayland car. And here we can see the Formula Racing driver Alexander Nussbaumer, who of course was victorious yesterday. 13 races in the Ferrari Challenge. He's taken 3 wins, the Austrian driver. So for this round of the Ferrari Challenge, we find ourselves in the Czech Republic and the Brno circuit. We're about 25 minutes or so from the city centre of Brno. Let's take a look. So the Hublot safety car with the Pirelli Colour Edition tyres. Pirelli offering the exclusive possibility to customise any car by choosing among the hundreds of colours available in the Pirelli Colour Edition. Each Ferrari Challenge race a new colour combined with the red of the Ferrari Challenge safety car, creating a different concept. And Pirelli asking for your support across social media platforms to decide together the colour for the Finale Mondiale World Final event in Monza in November. So it's grey that adorn the Pirelli tyres on the Hublot safety car this weekend. Henrik Kamstrup, the Baron service driver, and there is the car of Christoph Herney at the moment on slick tyres. 2 wins in the Ferrari Challenge so far for Christoph Herney. And as I say, at the moment on those slick tyres with the wet weather tyres standing by. Looks like we're going to have a safety car start potentially. So let's take a review of the weekend so far here in Brno. So a nice little wrap of the weekend so far. Looking at the lighting gantry then, as we pan down to the grid, then as you can see the safety car board being held. So at the moment, Corinna Gosner looking like Corinna Gosner is staying on those slick tyres. The wet tyres are standing by. 36 races in the Ferrari Challenge, some 14 top 10 finishes for Corinna Gosner. Sister, of course, to Manuela. We're about 3 minutes away then from the start of the race, which is going to be behind the safety car. We've had that confirmed on the timing screen now. So safety car start for the Ferrari Challenge drivers in the Coppa Shell. Now from the window here in our commentary position, it doesn't look like there's much rain coming down now. And there we can see the Agata Smolka car, which may well be on wet weather tyres. Just looking at that, 9 races in the Ferrari Challenge, 8 top 10 finishes for Aggie Smolka. And looked like her car had been shod with those wet weather tyres. David Fuminelli, driver coach there, having a conversation with Aggie Smolka. You see a number of slick tyres being taken out of the way. So some drivers opting for slick, some opting for wet weather tyres. Of course, the driver and team's choice. But if it has been declared as a wet weather race, and it looks like on the back of the 145 car there of Laurent Demouse that may well be on slick tyres. So try and identify as we go through the grid, looking at the cars to ascertain what rubber that they are on. In Coppa Shell then, we have the mix of Shell drivers and AM drivers. And here is the grid in full. Eric Prenot and James Weiland, P1 and 2. Manuela Gosner, Rick Lovett, P3, 4. Ernst Kirschmeyer and Eric Chung are going from the third row of the grid for this race 2 for Coppa Shell, the mix of Shell and AM drivers. And on the next page, we will see the AM drivers. Alexander Nussbaumer going from P9, ahead of him von Skeltermel, Vladimir Haladik, Christoph Herney, Murat Kuhadaroglu, then Corinna Gosner going from P12 on the grid, ahead of Ingvar Mattsson, Tommy Lindroth, Agata Smolka, Dusan Palkra, Per Fulholt and Laurent Demouse. Races.ferrari.com, the website which will give you all the information with regards to the Ferrari Challenge, the runners, the riders, the personalities, and of course all the details about the phenomenal 488 car with Henrik Kamstrup bringing up the rear of the grid going from P19. So Eric Prenot then done a good job in qualifying, puts it on pole position once again. Let's hear from Eric Prenot now for Ineco MP Racing.
Hello guys, finally I reached the pole position on this circuit I love very much here in Brno. So let's make a good start, let's make a good race. Everybody.
Nejprve zaváděcí kolo, ale pak pojedeme stejným tempem dál, čili pod pejskárem a budeme čekat, kdy jury rozhodne.
So Eric Prenot then, as the safety car leaves bang on time, and the cars will all line up behind the safety car because officially the race has started. No formation lap, the cars are released and are following the safety car. Now the objective being for those drivers that are on slick weather tyres to try and dissipate some of the water off the track surface, providing it's not raining anymore. And there you can see all the social media at the top of the screen as the cars are all led away by the safety car, thinking that probably 2 laps behind the safety car before we get the race underway proper perhaps. And with very challenging track conditions, this could be very interesting indeed. It's a very wise move by race control to say to start behind the safety car, I'm sure of that. There is Christoph Herney with lots of work to do from P10 on the grid to put himself back into the race-winning position that he enjoyed yesterday. Ingvar Mattsson, just a point between himself and Murat Kuhadaroglu in the AM points at the moment. And there, the Christoph Ernie car, you can see him just exploring the limits of adhesion that are available on the track. And all the teams in the pit lane, and interesting use for a carrier bag there as Daniele Diamato, driver coach to Ineco MP Racing, looks on. So it was such a long and winding track here, 5.4 kilometres. The weather conditions in one part of the track can be different to another part of the track. And the elevation changes on this track as well, as Manuela Gosner and Rick Lovett and the 109 car of Ernst Kirschmeyer there going through. So, as I say, I reckon a minimum of 2 laps behind the safety car, but race control will give us that information. There's von Skeltermar for the Kessel Racing team. Von Skeltermar going from P7 on the grid. Manuela Gosner it was, the lady racer that was on pole position yesterday, and many of us expected that to become her first outright win, but it wasn't to be. So on board with the Hublot safety car on the final 4 corners on this circuit. It's the run uphill now, gone through turn number 13, heading towards turn number 14 now. Real uphill section this is, into the left-hander, which is turn number 14. On board with Dusan Palkra. Dusan Palkra then, and once again into the Ineco MP garage. Ahead of the start of race number 2 for our Coppa Shell drivers. On board with Manuela Gosner, then the lady racer. Now, bearing in mind the drops of rain that you can see on the windscreen may not be because rain is falling, but more likely to be off of the James Wayland car ahead. And Rick Lovett has come into the pit lane already. So I wonder whether Rick Lovett is shod on wet weather tyres and has decided that it'd be better off on slicks and has come in, or whether it's completely the other way around and he's on slick tyres and has decided that the track surface is not good enough for the dry weather rubber and is going to go onto the wet weather tyres. So the Octane 126 team go to work on the Rick Lovett car. So safety car remains out for this lap. And I really rather suspect that this will be the last lap. Sure enough, get confirmation just as I say it that the safety car is coming in this lap. There you go. It's on screen for you now. So Rick Lovett then opting to come off the slicks and onto the wet weather tyres. We have drivers on a mix of tyres then. Some are on wet weather tyres already. Some are on slick tyres. Brno, James Wayland and Manuela Gosner. Then it's Ernst Kirschmeyer. Kessel are also preparing wets. Maybe that's for that driver, von Skeltermar. And there you can see a set of wets standing by. So Rick Lovett, a former Kessel driver, now racing for the Octane 126 team, has come in and had his tyres changed. So the clock continues to tick down then. Even though we are behind the safety car, it is coming in this lap. Rick Lovett on his way out of the pit lane once again. And Daniele Diamato then. Well, you couldn't get any closer to the camera, Daniele, if you tried. So assessing the weather conditions. Looks an altogether damper down there in the lower sections of the circuit, it has to be said. So we will see. So wets being prepared for the cars of James Wayland and also for von Skeltermar. On board with Manuela Gosner then as the safety car begins to pick up speed as it runs through the final 2 turns. The lights are out on top the safety car. That means it will peel in to the pit lane, and then we will be racing proper for the remaining 24 minutes of this race. So we get the green flag and we do go racing as the cars head down towards turn number 1. James Wayland on the attack of Eric Prinot straight away. He's on the inside, but Prinot is able to carry just a little bit more speed, but a little bit of panel rubbing between the two of them, between Eric Prinot and James Wayland, who gets a real tank slapper on. It gets very, very sideways in these challenging conditions. He just manages to keep it out of the barriers. But that bold and ambitious move by James Wayland did not pay off, and so Eric Prinot it is that leads the race. James Wayland relegated, as you can see, and in fact is going to be passed almost by Murat Kuhadaroglu as he drops right down the order to probably P11 or P12. So you can almost sense how the drivers are tiptoeing around this track. Well, certainly that's the case for those of them that are on slick weather tyres. Vladimir Hladek, von Skeltermar now. Von Skeltermar, the Kessel driver, is one of those that we were expected to come in and change onto the wet weather tyres. You can see the back end of his car just beginning to step out, and he tries very hard to keep it pointing in the right direction in grip challenging conditions. Taking a look at the back end of Manuel Agostner is Ernst Kirchmeier, and there's Eric Chung in the 198 car. So there's Ernst Kirchmeier side by side with Manuel Agostner. Is he going to be able to drive all the way around the outside? No, he has to yield because Manuel Agostner closes the door. Now, those drivers that have dropped places, Tommy Lindroth and Corinna Agostner. Laurent de Moos has got past Henrik Kamstrup. So, as you can tell from the pace of the cars, as Ingvar Madsen now is right on Christoph Herney. Laurent de Moos, as you can see, he's moving up the order. Rick Lovett, who has gone onto those wet weather tyres, has now rejoined the race and caught up with the rest of the pack. And Eric Chung is also looking pretty lively here on Ernst Kirchmeier. Vladimir Hladek, then it's von Skeltermar. Here comes Agata Smolka. Now we know that Aggie Smolka was one of those drivers that was on wets right at the very start of the race. And she moves herself up past Murat Kuhadaroglu. So Agata Smolka is moving in, and Christoph Herney has gone out and he's in the gravel. So Christoph Herney, and you can see there he's definitely on slick tyres, and Christoph Herney then finds himself beached in the gravel. Under investigation, cars 112, which is Rick Lovett, 162 Christoph Herney, 181, which is Eric Prinot, and also Manuel Agostner. So in replay here, Aggie Smolka having already got past Murat Kuhadaroglu. There you can see the back end, just at the back of the picture there, the back end of the Christoph Herney car going around, and he ends up beached in the gravel. See it from this angle here. Just puts the power down and there's nothing there. He's through the gravel and does connect with the barriers, both front end and back end. And where that car is situated, well, he's managed to drag it out and is back down in the pit lane now. Well, Christoph Herney is not going to repeat his race win from yesterday. Sadly, the Team Zenith Cyan driver is retiring the car. Now, the reason that the car's under investigation of Rick Lovett, Manuel Agostner, Eric Prinot and Christoph Herney is because engineers working on the car within the 3-minute window before the start of the race, which is not allowed. That's the reason they are under investigation, as you can see with the graphics on screen. So, the order is Eric Prinot, Manuel Agostner, then it is Ernst Kirchmeier, Eric Chung. Leader in the AM category is Agata Smolka, because she is on wet weather tyres and is able to come through the pack and is setting the fastest times. I mean, Aggie Smolka at the moment is running 3 seconds quicker than those cars ahead of her. So Aggie Smolka then, the Rosso Corsa team, took the decision to run on wet weather tyres, and obviously at the moment, notwithstanding there's still 20 minutes of the race to go, it was the right decision at that time. So fastest lap comes from Aggie Smolka then, 2:22.89. There is Ernst Kirchmeier then, up the inside of Manuel Agostner now. Ernst Kirchmeier, this dragged race now towards turn number 1. And on the inside of Manuel Agostner, Ernst Kirchmeier, if he can scrub the speed off for the turn, should go through now. However, Manuela Gosner will try and get underneath the car coming back, but Ernst Kirchmayr had done a good enough job that Manuela Gosner is not able to come back. And just look at Eric Chung, who's trying to cut a swathe past Manuela Gosner as well. Here comes Eric Chung in the 198 car then. Now he's on the outside now for this turn, which is not going to be good enough for an overtake. But he is definitely harrying the Ineco MP driver Manuela Gosner ahead. Aggie Smolka next in the target sights is von Skeltermar, and we're pretty sure that von Skeltermar is on slicks because the Kessel team were preparing a set of wets for that car. And Von's tyres have now been put away into the garage again, so that would indicate that Kessel are not going to pull Von's in. Now, at the moment, this is working for Aggie Smolka. If the track begins to dry out on a dry line, is very bad news for wet weather tyres because they need to be cooled to be kept in their operating window. This was Ernst Kirchmayr then getting past Manuela Gosner. There you can see the car going through like a bullet on the right-hand side of the car. And here's Rick Lovett also cutting a swathe through the pack, gets past Corinna Gosner. Laurent Demouz is making good progress as well. He's in P15 at the moment. And in replay here, sorry, we're back to the live race action. James Wayland now trying to recover from that earlier incident. Now, I'm pretty sure that James Wayland is on slick tyres, and if so, he's just put on a move against Aggie Smolka, which was a good one, because Agata Smolka, we know, is on the wet weather tyres. They climb uphill now, next in the target sights of James Wayland, which makes me wonder whether he's on wets, although his spin earlier would suggest not. So Manuela Gosner with Eric Chung for company. Eric Prinot is 1.2 seconds to the good in the lead. Ernst Kirchmayr is P2 and is chasing because Ernst Kirchmayr is quicker than Eric Prinot. Here comes Eric Chung then on Manuela Gosner. You can see how close Ernst Kirchmayr is to Eric Prinot now. And through the speed trap, 243 kilometers per hour for Manuela Gosner, who's turned the wick up now, is being pushed hard by Eric Chung. And the lead is going to come under threat now because Ernst Kirchmayr sets the fastest lap and goes off after Eric Prinot. There's just 5/10 between the two of them. Here comes Ernst Kirchmayr on the inside of Eric Prinot. And that was actually a really good and easy overtake for Ernst Kirchmayr. So there is Eric Prinot then relegated to P2. Ernst Kirchmayr now is leading the race. Car 118 is under investigation as well for being worked on. That's the James Wayland car. Interestingly, James Wayland is definitely on slick weather tyres. Well, he got past Agata Smolka really easily, and I just wonder whether the wet weather tyres are now beginning not to work quite as well as they did. Well, Ernst Kirchmayr is obviously feeling pretty confident because he got past Eric Prinot without a problem at all and has already built up some 6/10 of margin. Eric Chung has got past Manuela Gosner as well. Beg your pardon, no he hasn't. Yes he has, because there is the Manuela Gosner car, and I was distracted by Vladimir Hladik and James Wayland. So it is Ernst Kirchmayr leading from Eric Prinot, then it's Eric Chung, and now Eric Chung has got past Manuela Gosner. Eric Chung is on a real mission here as well. He's got some significant speed. He sets the fastest of anyone, Sector 1. Kirchmayr is lapping in the 2:17s, then Prinot 2:18, 2:18 also for Eric Chung, and Manuela Gosner and the rest of the pack 2:19s, although James Wayland also in the 2:17s, so he's clearly he's got the track coming to him now, I would suggest, and I would expect to see from that P8 position and leading in the AM classification, perhaps for Agata Smolka to fall down the order if the wet weather tyres are beginning now not to work. And the points leader in the AMs is Ingvar Madsson, who is at P2 in the AM chase currently. Now, where is Ingvar Madsson relative to Agata Smolka? Is some 5 seconds behind. So there's Aggie Smolka almost out on her own to the left of your picture. We've just lost her off the screen. And she is definitely losing time now in comparison to von Skeltermar there in car number 177. So what was at one point the right decision for Aggie Smolka has proved to be the wrong decision now, because Aggie Smolka's times are in the 2:18s, whereas others are in 2:16s. In fact, 2:15 is a lap time set by James Wayland, who now, as you can see, is on the back of Vladimir Haladik in the 144 car. So the battle for P5 in the Shell drivers between James Wayland and Vladimir Haladik. And James Wayland clearly got the pace in that car, chasing down the Baron service driver, Vladimir Haladik. Eric Chung just sets a 2:15.3, so the track is coming to the drivers now in terms of adhesion available. Here comes James Wayland and Vladimir Haladik side by side, and James Wayland should be able to go through here. Sure enough, Vladimir Haladik has to yield. He'll try and get underneath James Wayland now, but I think James has probably got the momentum. Yes, he has. He's able to close the door. A good overtake from James Wayland, who's making his way back up the order again and back uphill as they close another lap here at this Brno circuit. We've got just under 13 minutes of racing still to come, a couple of turns to do before the lap is closed, and under pressure now in that P2 place is Eric Prinot, because Eric Chung just sets the fastest lap of anyone in the 2:15s, a 2:15.323. The only other driver in the 15s is James Wayland. So Eric Prinot then is next in the target sights for the 198 car of Eric Chung. And you can see now, you can't even see Aggie Smolka in that picture. Such is she dropping back now because of those wet weather tyres. She's got 6 seconds on Ingvar Madsen. Beg your pardon, it's 2 seconds on Ingvar Madsen. And reducing. Alexander Nussbaumer, incidentally, has got past Ingvar Madsen. We can see from the timing screen. We didn't see the overtake on track, but he's certainly done that. So the standings in Shell at the moment: Ernst Kirchmayr, Eric Prinot, Eric Chung, then Manuel Agosta, James Wayland, and Vladimir Haladik. So Ernst Kirchmayr leading. He's got 9 tenths over Eric Prinot in P2. In the AMS then, it's Agata Smolka, then it's Alexander Nussbaumer, and there's just under 5 seconds between the two of them. So Aggie Smolka's lap times, look at that, in the 2:20s, whereas many others now are lapping in the 2:13s. So Aggie Smolka, unfortunately, is going to be prey to those AM drivers that are behind her, who with superior grip now on the slick tyres and having stuck with the slicks is going to be able to find their way past Aggie Smolka and reduce the advantage she had in terms of the places she made up at the beginning of the race. Here's Vladimir Haladik then in the 144 car. James Wayland having got past the 144 car of Vladimir Haladik and now targeting the next car ahead, which is the lady racer Manuela Gosner. Now this was the overtake for the race lead as Ernst Kirchmayr went up on the inside, and it was a really relatively easy overtake into Eric Prinot and Eric Chung around the outside of Manuela Gosner. So Ernst Kirchmayr leading the race. So he is the leader of the Shell race. The only other Ferrari Challenge races taken part in this season was the Spa-Francorchamps round, where he took a P7 and a P6. So this, to the best of my knowledge, would be his first win in the Ferrari Challenge, if it should stay this way, and we've still got 10 minutes of racing to come. But Ernst Kirchmayr looking pretty comfortable at the moment in that 109 car, which is engineered by the Baron service team, headed up, of course, by Philippe Baron, former multi-Ferrari Challenge champion. It's Kirchmayr, Prinot, Chung, the 1, 2, 3 in the Shells. And here comes Aggie Smolka then, who's just going to fall prey now. This is P1 in the AMS, and she's going to try and defend against Alexander Nussbaumer, but Alexander Nussbaumer has just got so much superior grip now as Aggie Smolka searches for the water on the track to try and keep those wet weather tyres within their operating window of temperature. And she's doing a good job in terms of making the car wide and making it difficult for Alexander Nussbaumer to come by, but it's a question of when, not if, I think. You can see that the car is looking a bit wayward. She's searching for the grip on those groove tyres, and Alexander Nussbaumer is around, has gone Laurent Demouse. He's back out again. And Laurent Demouse then as sure enough, Alexander Nussbaumer does go through on Agata Smolka, and that is for the lead in the AM classification. Ingvar Madsen is P3 at the moment, so Ingvar Madsen will be the next AM driver to perhaps line up Agi Smolka, but running out of time to be able to do that, because we've only got 8 3/4 minutes of the race left. Ernst Kirchmayr, 1.2 seconds to the good at the head of the Pirelli field, the Shell field, I beg your pardon, of drivers. And just look, now Alexander Nussbaumer has got past Agata Smolka in but the space of just a few corners. He's opened up a monumental gap, proving just how advantageous it is to be on the slick tyres and not the wet weather tyres at this particular stage of the race. Of course, what Aggie will be praying for is for there to be a monumental downpour now, where that would play into her hands. However, at the moment, it doesn't look like it's happening. And therefore, Alexander Nussbaumer, it'll be his second win of the weekend as Corinna Gosner goes past. And here's Ingvar Madsen. Now, I wonder if Ingvar Madsen is on wets as well, because he's being passed now by Dusan Palkra. So Ingvar Madsen perhaps for Scuderia Autoropa, another one of those drivers that opted to start the race on wet weather tyres, and now really struggling to find the grip on those wet weather tyres as Dusan Palkra goes through. So in the AMS at the moment, it's Alexander Nussbaumer. Agata Smolka is still holding on to P2 in the AMS, but Dusan Palkra it is that's P3. Now he's got to make up some 7 seconds to get on terms with Agi Smolka, and we've got 7 minutes left of the race. Ingvar Madsen doing his level best to squeeze every bit of grip he can and to try and keep with Dusan Palkra. Oh, and now this changes the whole outlook for the race, because we have got time penalties being awarded to Rick Lovett, to James Wayland, to Eric Prinot, and also to Manuela Gosner. And this in replay was the overtake then as Dusan Palkra got past the Ingvar Madsen car. So there you can see on screen the 25-second time penalty for Rick Lovett for James Wayland, for the 181 car of Eric Prinot, who's currently P2, and for Manuela Gosner in 183, who is P4. So that will change the result of this race significantly then. Where is Rick Lovett at the moment? Well, he's got himself up into P16 overall following his early pit stop. The most that will, or the drivers that will be affected the most are Eric Prinot and, of course, Manuela Gosner. And we're into the final 6 minutes of the race. This Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race here at the Brno circuit, being led by Ernst Kirchmayr by some 2.1 seconds. And there is Prinot for the Ineco MP Racing concern, who's got a 25-second time penalty to come. And that'll put him way down the order. Eric Chung, there's Manuela Gosner, another driver that's going to be affected by that time penalty, who James Wayland is chasing down right now. So Manuela Gosner, James Wayland, and then Vladimir Hladek with a rich vein of form now, trying to come back at James Wayland, having already got past von Skeltermar. This is the battle for P4 in the Shell drivers. And James Wayland taking a look at the inside of Manuela Gosner. If everything stayed the way it is at the moment, this would change the Shell standings in the race to Kirchmayr P1, Eric Chung P2, Vladimir Hladek P3, and von Skeltermar P4. That's if everything stays this way for the next 4.5 minutes. Not absolutely convinced it will, because Vladimir Hladek, James Wayland's in this really difficult position where he needs to get the hurry up in terms of getting past Manuela Gosner. Otherwise, Vladimir Hladek's going to do both of them at the same time, potentially. So Wayland then tracking Manuela Gosner in the Ineco MP car, which is coloured green and black. And here comes James Wayland on the inside of Manuela Gosner now as they come uphill. And For the second time in this race, James Wayland goes around. Was really tried very, very hard to make up places, and James Wayland then for the second time of asking pirouettes that 118 car. Let's see it again. So he was tracking Manuel Agostina, and it did look like it was up the inside here. Now, is there contact between the two of them? Possibly so. James Wayland then around. And we can see from the Formula Racing garage there, of course, as the engineers look on. Now Manuel Agostina has got Vladimir Hladik for company, and Vladimir Hladik is on a real charge here. And in the final 3.5 minutes, he needs to get past Manuel Agostina to try and chase after Eric Chung, but I think the gap is too great for him to be able to do that. So Manuel then, who has, of course, has got a time penalty, but of course that doesn't help Vladimir Hladik at the moment because the car is still in the blooming way of him. And he can't go chasing after Eric Chung until he has got past the Manuel Agostina car. And of course what he's also doing is falling a little bit prey to von Skelterma, who's coming back at him. So, very difficult situation that Vladimir Hladik finds himself in because, you know, actually he hasn't got time now to catch up with Eric Chung. And it's almost futile, really, trying to overtake Manuel Agostina, although the only reason it's not futile is that, of course, that puts a little cushion between himself and von Skelterma. And Skelterma is looking very lively now. Ernst Kirchmayr, P1, looking untroubled with a 1.7-second margin over Eric Prinot, who himself, of course, has got a 25-second time penalty to come. We have just over 2 minutes of the race remaining. So there is Eric Chung, who's kind of out on his own at the moment. So Eric Chung for Formula Racing. What a gamble it was right at the start of the race. And there's Eric's wife, Corinna, on the right-hand side. Francesca to the left-hand side from Formula Racing. And there is Eric Chung. And there is that big, big lineup behind Manuel Agostina of Vladimir Hladik. And von Skelterma, in my opinion, is going to try and have a go at Vladimir Hladik before the end of this race. Now, as they cross the timing line now, we are on to the last lap, so they have one more lap. Vladimir Hladik has one more lap to hold on to that position he's got over von Skelterma. As I say, getting past Manuel Agostina, whilst in one regard is utterly unnecessary, where it is necessary, of course, is that it gives him that safety net between himself and von Skelterma. So there is Skelterma with the shark's teeth hunting the Vladimir Hladik car. Here's James Wayland recovering from his second pirouette of the day in car number 118. The American racer, great to see him back on the European track once again. Very much hoping that he'll be joining us in Barcelona in September. For Ernst Kirchmayr, though, and for Aggie Smolka, who is still in the P2 position in the AMS. And in fairness, I don't think Dusan Palkra, he can throw everything out here as Ingvar Madsen is coming back at him. So Dusan Palkra and Ingvar Madsen, who are battling over the final podium place in the AMS standings. Now, there is the 117 Dusan Palkra car, and here comes Ingvar Madsen. Now, is it beginning to rain once again, which is playing into the hands of Agata Smolka, who we know is on the wet weather tyres, and also, critically, to Ingvar Madsen, who is battling with this driver, Dusan Palkra. Here's Ernst Kirchmayr then. Oh, and Ernst Kirchmayr gets it wrong as the grip level begins to reduce. Thankfully, he's got enough time in hand as he climbs uphill. Eric Prinot has gone. He'd already got a 25-second time penalty, but he pirouettes all over the track, makes contact with the barriers, brings all sorts of gravel and grit onto the circuit. So, real drama in the closing stages of this race as the rain begins to come down again. Here comes Ernst Kirchmayr. He is going to be untroubled. He does take the checkered flag. Now, bear in mind, wherever Eric Prinot appears, he's got another time penalty. And here is Eric Prinot with the damaged car, but Manuel Agostina, who's also got a time penalty. Von Skeltermark didn't manage to get past Vladimir Hladek. Eric Prinot is got all sorts of mechanical problems on the car. Now, is Alexander Nussbaumer going to be the first of the AM drivers, as Eric Prinot's car is severely damaged, as you can see, following the contact with the barriers. We are waiting Alexander Nussbaumer to cross the timing line. He's going to be okay as he tiptoes through turn number 15 to hold on to that P1 place in the AMs. Now, Agi Smolka and Dusan Palkra. It's going to be Agata Smolka ahead of Dusan Palkra. I think here comes Corinna Gostner herself in the Shell drivers. She's also having to tiptoe past because the rain coming down now has really changed the track conditions in the closing stages of this race. So as we watch Corinna Gostner, we wait a long time before Agi Smolka then, in car number 186, will equal her best finish by taking a P2. And can Ingvar Madsen get past Dusan Palkra? The answer is no. So what drama at the end of the race. As across comes Tommy Lindroth now. And this is Murat Kuhadaroglu, another one that's really having to just tiptoe his way over the line. Per Falholt, then Rick Lovett, and then Laurent Damouz, who of course was, like James Wayland, is another one of those drivers that had pirouetted. So there we have the race completed. We await the timing screen to be adjusted with those time penalties after Henrik Kamstrup has crossed the timing line. He will be the last car running. And right, the timing screen gets adjusted now, so that means Eric Prinot actually finishes P6 following that time penalty. So Alexander Nussbaumer is the winner in AMS, and the winner in the Shell is Ernst Kirschmeyer. Whew, what a race. So P1 for car number 109, Ernst Kirschmeyer, his first win in the Ferrari Challenge. P2 is Eric Chung in car number 198. P3 is Vladimir Hladek. So a good last race for the, well, this is the Eric Prinot incident. Look, he just lost the back end of the car and then high speed spin. And look at it from this angle. Wow. And carrying a lot of speed and making contact side on with the barriers there. And that almost pushed the car back out onto the track. But look at that. It's crabbing like a four-wheel steer machine, isn't it, as he tries to make his way across the finish line. And there you can see the reaction from the Formula Racing team. So Philip Barron down there congratulating his drivers, and all Austrian on the top steps of the podium. Whew. So top three in each category: Ernst Kirschmeyer, Eric Chung, Vladimir Hladek in the Shell, Alexander Nussbaumer, Agata Smolka and Dusan Palkra in the AMS. Let's take a look at the highlights now. So really difficult to make the decision at the beginning of the race whether to run on wet weather tyres or on slick tyres. The start was going to be behind the safety car come what may, which did stay out for a couple of laps. And then when the cars were released, the track initially was beginning to dry up. James Wayland was on a real charge, and it was quite a physical battle with Eric Prinot. James Wayland losing out there. Manuel Agosta was the first to get past the, or be passed by the car of Ernst Kirschmeyer, who would then set about the race leader. Agata Smolka, as Christoph Ernie made contact with the barriers. Agata Smolka, who was on the wet weather tyres, was making very good progress indeed. And Manuel Agosta getting past by the Ernst Kirschmeyer car. Eric Chung also trying to do exactly the same. Eric Prinot was the race leader, but not for much longer as Ernst Kirschmeyer made his way past him. Here you can see Dusan Palkrup and Ingvar Madsen were having a battle in the AM classification, and Dusan Palkrup managing to get past Ingvar Madsen's superior grip available going up the hill. Had a lot more confidence in the car. This was a frightening moment for Eric Prinot then, as he lost the back end of the car and the car spun across and made side-on contact with the barriers. And James Wayland, he wasn't finished spinning either. He took one more pirouette before the end of the race. And it was Ernst Kirschmeyer that would take the win. Eric Prinot would eventually cross the line, and it was going to be Alexander Nussbaumer that would take the win in the AMS. So Aggie Smolka then equals her best performance in the races, and she might feel wronged by the weather, but had the rain resumed just 5 minutes earlier, she could or cold have won. Well done, Aggie. So Agata Smolka then, who, I am right, aren't I? It's equaling her best result. I'm sure she's had P2s. Yes, 3 of them, in fact. And congratulated there by the boss of the Ferrari Challenge, Mr. Andrea Mladesic. And we'll be heading up to the podium next. So classification then: Ernst Kirschmeyer, Eric Chung, Vladimir Hladek, von Skelterman, Manuela Gosner, Eric Prinot, James Wayland, Corinna Gosner, Tommy Lindroth and Rick Lovett then. The top 10 in the Shell drivers. And a podium about to get underway as everyone tries to protect themselves from the rather challenging weather conditions. Vladimir Hladek on his way up to the third step of the podium.
And the winner is Kirschmeyer. On the podium, Baron Motorsport, Philip Baron.
So, for the first time then,
National anthem. Yo, claps for this.
Sam Bird is here to make that. That's brilliant. Ernst Kirschmeyer is apologising because he let go of the champagne before Sam had even presented the trophies. Fantastic. Sam Bird, the official Ferrari GT driver then. Fantastic.
The trophy for the Team Baron Motorsport.
Well, you've got to enjoy yourself, haven't you?
Attention, please. Together on the first step of the podium. Please.
Attention, please.
Together on the first step of the podium. Lift your trophy and smile to photos and videos in Brno circuit. Okay. Please. And the show is not over without Veuve Clicquot.
Well, Ernst Kirschmeyer actually was the first with it. It has to be said. Just a little bit before he was supposed to, but there we are. Doesn't matter.
Ernst Kirschmeyer, Eric Chung and Vladimir Hladek.
Well, the podium done and dusted. Extraordinary scenes there. Poor old Sam Bird nearly got plenty of champagne. All he was there to do was present the trophies. So, winner is Ernst Kirschmeyer. And there you can see as he holds his trophy aloft how happy he is. So happy that the champagne went before the official moment for it to be released. And Eric Chung certainly enjoying himself up there on the podium as well, deservedly so. The rain really coming down now. Great. Guess who's got to do a podium interview straight after this race? Drivers' Championship then. Eric Chung leading on 127 points. Christoph Ernie on 106.5. Just 0.5 ahead of Eric Prinot in P3.
Second, Miss Agata Smolka.
So there's Dusan Paukra, there's Aggie Smolka.
The winner is Alexander Nussbaumer.
Alexander Nussbaumer then to the top step of the podium. What a great weekend he's had. 2 out of 2.
Team race winner. And now National Anthem.
National Anthem time to play out now.
Your claps for these podium winners, and the trophy are presented by Sam Bird.
Sam Bird once again, who this time doesn't get covered in champagne before the trophies are even presented. Presents the third place trophy, then the second place trophy to Aggie Smolka. And then, of course, the race-winning trophy to Alexander Nussbaumer. So Dusan Paukra, Aggie Smolka, and Alexander Nussbaumer, the drivers up there on the podium. Formula Racing receive yet another trophy to add to their extraordinary trophy cabinet. Michele Mambelli orchestrates the podium ceremony. And uplift your trophy. And smile.
Okay.
And now it'll be time for the champagne.
Singing in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
Champagne.
Well done. Lost some of its fizz, if I'm honest with you. That champagne, perhaps it's all to do with the weather. Top 3 in the AMS then. Dusan Paukra, P3.
At the end of this weekend, and I remind you the next race in Spain, Barcelona. Thank you very much for your attention. Ferrari
P2, the lady racer, Agata Smolka in car number 186. There it is. And P1, once again to Alexander Nussbaumer. So the top 3 in the AMS. And Alexander Nussbaumer very happy then on the top step podium once again. So in the Drivers' Championship then, it's Ingvar Mattsen now by a point over Murat Kuhadaroglu. That's swapped round because it was Murat Kuhadaroglu 1 point ahead of Ingvar Mattsen. Keep your eyes on Alexander Nussbaumer. as a stealth-like is creeping up there. He's in P3 now, and Aggie Smolka is P4. So the Brno circuit here in the Czech Republic, which has seen some extraordinary action across the weekend, some of it brought about by the challenging weather conditions. There, the Vladimir Hladik car and the car of Ernst Kirschmeyer, as you can see, and the conversations continuing down there on the podium. So the Brno circuit here at the Czech Republic, as we looked at the show cam of the Ferrari Challenge weekend here. So the cars would start behind the safety car. And the conditions would prove to be challenging throughout the race. Challenging for Eric Prinot and also for James Wayland. James Wayland trying to muscle his way through on the inside of the Nico MP driver, then losing the back end of the car and making contact very nearly with the barriers. Did a good job of keeping it out. Manuela Gosner and Ernst Kirschmeyer side by side as Ernst Kirschmeyer was trying to find a way past the lady racer. Another lady racer having a great time of it was Aggie Smolka, but Christoph Herney having less of a good time of it as he lost the back end of the car and connected with the barriers. Eventually then, Ernst Kirschmeyer was able to get past the Manuela Gosner car. Took some laps of doing. Eric Chung wasn't quite close enough to be able to replicate the move. Next in his target sights was Eric Prinot in car number 181. And Ingvar Madsen and Dusan Palkra were having a real battle here. Both really looking for grip, as towards the end of the race, the rain began to come down once again. Eric Prinot found the going really, really tough and spun around and side-on made contact with the barriers, which actually propelled him back onto the track, and James Wayland was going to have another spin as well. And there you can see as Corinna Chung looked on. The really damaged Eric Prinot car did make it across the line, and Dusan Palkra also making it across the line. And from the helicopter, things here at the Brno circuit, very exciting indeed. So, next event then is Barcelona in the middle of September. Make sure you join us for that. Thanks so much for being here in the Czech Republic at Brno. Bye-bye for now.